Mastering the essential techniques in trials riding is imperative for a fast learning curve. Invest the time to learn the following skills correctly, so you'll have a solid foundation on which you can take your riding to any level desired.
So it's crucial that the rider decides which foot is the most comfortable foot to have forward while riding trials. The importance of this from the beginning becomes very apparent as we start ramping up the technical difficulty of each skill.
This will be the foot that remains forward during most trials moves, such as pedal kicks, side hop, and bunny hop. You may hear it referred to as your chocolate foot, or simply your good foot.
As you'll discover soon, most skills in trials are drivetrain dependent. You're essentially accelerating your bike and your body with the help of the drivetrain. So choosing the correct gear will help ease and maximize the effectiveness of the process.
Use a small chainring up front, either a 20 or a 22 tooth. Select a rear cog anywhere from the 16 tooth to the 20 tooth. I personally use a 22 tooth front chainring and a 19 tooth rear cog. Be sure your chain is tight to avoid a loose chain that may skip gears or even drop off the chainring.
Track standing is a must learn. It's the most common skill you'll use as a trials rider. It takes very little energy. You can use it to set up before a move or to recover after a hard line. So here are the details to dial in.
Ride parallel to a slight slope, then turn up the slope so your bike is at a 45-degree angle and your front tire is straight up and down the slope. Once at a standstill and without the use of brakes, use a slight pressure on your forward foot to hold the bike steady against the gravity of the slope. Bring your upper body and chest in line with the handlebar and stay centered over the bike. This is a very natural and comfortable position. You don't want to be fighting to maintain balance. It will become effortless. For an extra challenge, try track standing in all 4 combinations. Remember that the track stand is a skill that you can use to rest and collect your composure. At the start, your body will be very active maintaining balance, but the more dialed you become, the less visible the corrections will be.
Hopping is a skill most riders pick up quite easily. It can be very useful in certain situations, but it does take excessive energy. So your goal should be to use it only when absolutely necessary.
To ease the progression, we'll practice hopping while rolling slowly. Compress down on your pedals and handlebars by bending your legs and arms. When you spring up, pull up on the handlebars, point your toes down, and smear your foot back on the pedals. As you progress, try doing this with your brakes locked. Don't try to hop too high each time. It's not the purpose here. It helps to have a rhythm so one hop leads into the setup of the next. Once mastered, you'll be able to hop in all sorts of situations. As you hop, your free wheel may ratchet back so your forward foot comes up higher than your back pedal. To correct this, on the up hop, the instant the rear wheel goes in the air, pedal forward slightly to level out the pedals.
Rocking is a foundation skill that has many uses. The main one being that it allows the rider to move each tire independently of each other. It requires very little energy and can be very precise in tight situations.
To start out, roll forward, then lock the front brake while transferring your body weight through your straight arms and into the handlebars. This will pivot the rear tire into the air. When the rear tire comes down, pull up and back on the handlebars to raise the front wheel. Rhythm is important here. Try to conserve momentum and energy so each rock flows into the next. Keep the rocks small at first. Amplitude isn't important here. This is a very versatile skill, so once dialed, experiment with some twists and pivots.
It's really important that you have track stands, hopping, and rocking totally dialed. You want to be able to interchange between each of the three skills whenever necessary without even thinking about it.
Here's a look at all three skills used to negotiate a tight corner.
The most basic form of balance is riding along on your bike. If you can ride a bike, you can do this skill. The challenge comes in when the lines get narrower and narrower, so we've really got to fine-tune our balance. So here are some key points to keep in mind.
The optimal body positioning for a balanced line is standing up with your pedals level, body weight centered with an active stance. To maintain balance, you may add movement of your pedals up and down, movement of your whole torso side to side, movement of your knees side to side, and even taking a foot off the pedal and sticking it out to the side. Balance is a skill that's developed over time. As you can see, there are an infinite number of micro adjustments happening at the same time automatically. The conscious mind can only process a few, maybe 2 or 3 instructions at one time, and we need to process hundreds and thousands of pieces of feedback and instructions at once. Only your subconscious can accomplish this. These adjustments are learned through practice and experience. Far too many riders try to execute these adjustments from the conscious mind, which actually hinders their performance and progression. Be sure to check out Mastering the Mind Game of Riding, where I'll explore this type of thing in much more detail.
The basic endo. No, not the crashing over the handlebar kind, but a controlled version. Knowing and becoming familiar with the balance points while up on the front wheel will help your overall control of the bike.
Roll along briskly while bringing your weight to the rear of the bike. Grab a handful of front brake. Unweight your feet at this point, sending your back wheel flying into the air. Control this endo by extending your arms and sending your butt back and down. Once topped out, allow the bike to fall back to the ground and ride out. Don't forget to try the classic no-footed, no-way endo.
One of the most basic ways to drop off the side of an obstacle is with the side drop. With hopping dialed, you're well on your way to mastering this one.
Position your bike parallel to the edge of a drop. Compress and lift both wheels off the ground like hopping, and at the same time, shift your weight just slightly to the side. You're effectively just starting to fall sideways off the wall as you hop. Be ready to absorb the landing by extending your legs and arms. If the drop is only about 2 feet or so high, landing both tires together is fine, but anything higher, be sure to land the rear tire first to spread out the impact.
The Endos side drop comes in very handy when you need to exit off the side of a sketchy or uneven obstacle. There are 2 versions. 1, keeping the front brake locked during the motion, and 2, actually feathering the front brake just a little as you're exiting. We're going to take a look at both kinds.
Position your bike as close to parallel to the drop as possible. Compress down with your feet and spring up, transferring your weight into the handlebars to bring the rear wheel up. Guide your rear wheel to the side with your feet. Just as the rear wheel comes to about horizontal, keeping the front brake on, push off the handlebars and pull the front wheel with you off the obstacle. An alternate way to move your front wheel off the obstacle is to feather your brake. So again, just as the bike becomes level, push off your handlebars, allowing your front brake to modulate forward just slightly, giving you a smooth transition off the obstacle and into the air.
Rear wheel hops are a definitive skill in trials riding. Once learned, you'll never stop utilizing this newfound control. Additionally, it's the prerequisite for the all-important pedal kick.
There are 3 methods to help you learn this one. The first, I believe, is the most effective, and it starts by you positioning the front wheel up on a ledge about 2 feet high and hopping. Move your hips and upper body backwards, drop your heels, and hang back off the handlebars. You can also experiment with these other methods. Rock up onto your front wheel, then as the rear tire comes down, transfer your momentum backwards, pulling back on the handlebars right up to rear wheel hop position. The closer your front wheel is to the ground, the lower your butt must be behind the saddle. The higher your front wheel, your arms must be bent and your body more upright. Experiment with both these positions, then find a happy medium that's comfortable for you. The last method you can use to get up on the back wheel is a little more advanced. You can use a pedal kick. We're going to take a look at this in much more detail later in the video. Using the drivetrain is the secret weapon for trials rider. The following skills all involve the drivetrain and will help you develop the control necessary to do the most dynamic moves in trials riding.
Using a pedal punch to raise the front wheel is a quick and easy way to get it onto an obstacle. Not only that, but it really helps you learn how to use the drivetrain.
Come to a momentary stop in front of an obstacle, ratchet your pedals back just slightly, release the rear brake and pedal down deliberately while at the same time unweighting the front wheel by pulling up and back on the handlebar. Grab the rear brake again and regain composure by hopping. Instead of stopping before the punch, you can come in really slowly and then initiate the punch. This may be a good progression if you're finding stopping a little tricky.
By using pedal punches, you can actually skip the bike forward. By combining a weight transfer and a solid punch from the drivetrain, it allows you to move the bike precisely forward where you need it.
Ratcheting your bike forward is very similar to pedal punches, so be sure this is solid before moving on. To progress, we'll just tighten up this movement, adding some braking and some body language. Come to a momentary stop, compress your body weight down over the pedals, and punch the drivetrain while moving your weight up and forward. You may wish to feather the brakes at the end of the movement. The value of pedal punches is obvious when compared to the brakes locked method.
You can use a pedal punch to exit off the side of a ledge. It's actually also very important to know for safety. Imagine riding along a really high, skinny balance line, losing your balance, and instead of jumping off the bike and landing awkwardly, you can just punch off to the side and land on two tires. Let's take a look.
Roll or balance along a low ledge or curb. Bring your forward foot about 1/8 above horizontal. Then initiate the move by releasing your brakes, smoothly punching your forward foot down, and moving your body weight to the side.
The zap tap is often the most effective and easiest way to get your bike up onto obstacles. It's crucial to learn the correct order pedal strokes for this one. It's also actually the pattern for many moves to come.
The zap tap happens in two distinct movements. First getting your front wheel on the ledge, then bringing your rear wheel up. Rolling slowly towards the ledge, move your pedals to starting position, so get your back foot at about the 1 o'clock position. Initiate a 3/4 pedal stroke while pulling up and back on the handlebars. Now your front wheel is on the ledge, good foot forward, and you're ready to unweight the rear wheel. So throw your body weight up and forward while sucking your knees up to bring your rear tire onto the ledge. As you advance, you may find it useful to use the last 1/8 of a pedal stroke to help shoot the bike up onto the ledge. This is also necessary for zap taps to the rear wheel. At the moment the front wheel is on the obstacle, use the last 1/8 of your pedal stroke to powerfully accelerate the bike up vertically.
Wheelie drops are a classic mountain bike skill. Bike and body position are really important here, as again is the correct order of pedal strokes. Be sure to really progress slowly. Start small and slowly work your way up to higher heights. Take your time on this one, enjoy.
Approaching the drop slowly or from balance, bring your pedals to starting position, rear foot at about 1 o'clock. When the front wheel is close to the drop, complete a 3/4 stroke with the pedals while being sure to keep your front wheel from diving down by keeping your body weight slightly back. Prepare for the landing by extending your back wheel towards the ground. Your legs will bend and your butt will move back, absorbing the impact. If you're landing on a transition, much like regular mountain biking, it's smoothest to land with your tires at the same time on the transition with your brakes off.
The half-stroke gap is a very dynamic move in which it becomes really clear how much a trials rider relies on the drivetrain for power. The real secret here lies in the last part of the pedal stroke. Let's take a look.
While slowly moving towards the gap or balancing in front of it, bring your pedals to the starting position, back foot at about the 1 o'clock position. Initiate the 3/4 pedal stroke smoothly while maintaining a body position slightly back from center. The last quarter of the pedal stroke must be ultra dynamic. Doing this while accelerating your body weight forward will launch you and the bike forward across some pretty large gaps. To squeeze as much distance as possible, extend your legs forward in preparation for rear wheel impact. Then just let your momentum bring your front wheel down.
Pedal kicks. This one's a biggie. This could be the most important skill a trials rider learns. Once dialed, this will definitely open up a whole new world of potential riding lines.
Come to a momentary stop with your brakes locked. Bring your pedals to starting position with your forward foot just above horizontal. Release your rear brake momentarily and give the drivetrain a short pedal kick. While you're kicking, lift up on the handlebar, bring your hips up and forward, then let your hips come down and back, and let your front wheel come down closer to the ground, while also ratcheting your pedals backwards to the start position. Extend your legs forward for extra distance and in preparation for landing. Landing a pedal kick gap with the front wheel to help bridge the gap is very effective.
Doing a pedal kick drop is actually a very delicate move. It takes some experience and finesse to do it smoothly.
Pedal kick your bike to the edge of the drop-off and hop on your rear wheel. You want your rear axle to be almost directly over the edge. Drop your front tire as you would for any other pedal kick. But instead of punching hard on the drivetrain, you must gently pedal and ease the bike smoothly off the edge. Then, just as you're airborne, start extending your legs for a rear tire landing. A great exercise is to hop repeatedly on the edge of a drop until you choose to drop off. Having this kind of control is very important in your safety and also in building confidence for progression.
basically a skill that involves rolling your bike up onto an obstacle.
This is often the easiest way to mount something on your bike. With some speed, allow your front and rear tire to roll up the obstacle by using lots of body language. You're basically trying to absorb the obstacle with your body.
You don't actually have to always pedal kick off obstacles. You can often just roll down. From shallow roll-offs to steep faces, it's actually pretty fun to experiment with and practical too.
Ease your front wheel off the edge of the obstacle while shifting your butt back and down to counterbalance yourself. Don't be afraid to aggressively shift your weight back to maintain a comfortable balance during this roll-off. Take it slow and controlled. These are often endos waiting to happen. Don't hop, ride. Sometimes it's just better to keep rolling. Often, when riders are starting out, they tackle every line by hopping slowly. But sometimes, there's nothing wrong with a little speed to clear a section. Manifesto style. Excessive hopping is often unnecessary and breaks the flow of a line. It's a great challenge to ride your trials lines without any extra setup or recovery hops. It also helps make trials look more attractive to the onlooker. Conserve your momentum. Don't let any energy go to waste. Transfer any momentum you've created and throw it right into your next move. The settle and breathe method. Focus is very important in trials, and if you're sketching out and breathing hard, you'll never ride well. So take a second or two to breathe and clear your mind before moving on. You'll be amazed at how much better you ride. Creative progression. There are no rules or boundaries in trials. Experiment combining one skill to another or use a different technique than usual to tackle a line. Have fun and be creative with your riding. The following skills are the most advanced used in trials riding. With a good foundation, you'll catch on pretty quickly, so be ready to experience some big breakthroughs in your riding.
The classic bunny hop. It's got to be one of the most desirable and useful skills to learn on two wheels. You use your drivetrain only initially to gain a little bit of speed, then it's just a matter of throwing your body weight around and manipulating the bike a little bit. Let's get a little more specific.
Find a parking lot speed bump and roll towards it at a jogging speed. Bounce the front and then the rear tire off the bump and let the bike come off the ground. This will help you get used to the correct timing and the motion of the move. Now let's try this onto a ledge. As you approach the ledge, compress your arms and legs down. Pull up and back with your arms to bring your back tire up. Bend your legs and push the bike forward by extending your arms. At this time, your butt will be behind the saddle, your arms will be fully extended forward.
Kicker-ups are much like bunny hops, except you have the aid of a wedge of some shape or size to help launch you up into the air. Not only is it fun, but it can get you and your bike into some pretty amazing places.
Be sure to inspect the kicker, especially if it's just a rock of some sort. You want to make sure it's firm. Approach the kicker and adjust your speed depending on the height of the obstacle. Use the kicker to bounce the front wheel into the air, followed by the rear, similar to the speed bump exercise and similar body language as with the bunny hop.
In certain situations, you won't have enough space to build up the speed you need to do a bunny hop, so you can resort to the pedal up. It's very similar to the bunny hop, but you use your pedal stroke to give yourself the boost of power you need to get up onto the obstacle. Let's take a look.
Approach the ledge, move your pedals to starting position, back foot at about 1 o'clock. Initiate the 3/4 pedal stroke while pulling up and back on the handlebars. During the last quarter stroke, give the drivetrain a solid punch while accelerating your body up. Once airborne, extend your arms forward and your butt back. This motion should feel very similar to a bunny hop if done correctly.
Touch-ups are one of the most advanced skills in trials, but also one of the most effective. Be sure to master the pedal up and the zap tap, as the touch-up combines the two. It may take a little bit of patience to get the feel for, but it's well worth it. Check it out.
Roll slowly towards the obstacle. Move your pedals to starting position, back foot at about 1 o'clock. Initiate your pedal stroke fairly close to the obstacle with lots of power. Aim your front wheel to strike the top edge just as your good foot has come forward. This will help boost the rest of your body up. During this motion, and just as your front wheel hits the edge, you must commit to accelerating your body upwards and forwards. Now extend your arms forward and bend your knees sharply to help extend the bike up on top of the obstacle. Touch up to rear, you must direct some of that forward momentum from your body to upwards momentum. Extend your arms up and bend your legs up tightly to bring your rear tire up onto the edge. The last part of the pedal stroke should be super explosive. This is a very aggressive move that can create some extraordinary results.
The hookup basically uses the front wheel as a hook to pull the rest of the bike up onto higher obstacles. It's very much a two-stage skill. Watch closely in the examples. I think you're gonna like this one.
To start, I usually do a pedal up to place the front wheel precisely on the top surface of the obstacle. Be sure to also land your back wheel on the wall at the same time. There is a brief moment now where the bike remains still, but the body continues moving upwards while you pull off the front wheel and also quickly extend your arms forward and suck up with your legs to get the bike on top.
Side hops have to be one of my most favorite skills in trials riding. When executed just right, it feels amazing. So how the heck do you lift your bike vertically 3+ feet from a dead standstill? Well, here's how.
It's generally easier to side hop in the direction of your back foot. It allows you to hug the wall closer during the movement. But I do recommend learning it both ways eventually. Balance parallel to the edge that you're attempting to side hop. When you feel settled, lower your weight powerfully down and slightly back, then immediately explode upwards and very slightly to the side. The trick is to transfer some of this explosive power to the drivetrain, punching it just a little bit, but powerfully. Leading with your front wheel, pull up with your arms. As you gain height, extend the arms forward and bend your legs while moving your hips back behind the saddle. If you're landing on a ledge, just let the tires land and stand right back up, regaining your balance. If you're going over a bar, extend your legs down, landing the rear tire first. Take the side hop and transfer some vertical height into forward or sideways momentum. The base skill is still the same. You're just using different amounts of pedal kick combined with different amounts of body weight transfer.
Rear wheel side hops are essentially the same as a regular side hop, except you start from the rear tire. Comes in really useful when the terrain is really tight and there's not much space to take off from. So definitely take the time to learn this one.
You can either start hopping on the rear wheel beside the obstacle, or take one pedal kick up to the back wheel, then right into the side hop. Lower the front wheel really low while at the same time quickly dropping your butt down towards the rear wheel. Now explode your body weight upwards while punching the drivetrain with a short, powerful burst. For maximum height, bend your knees sharply and move your hips back over the rear tire. To land the side hop on the rear tire, you must keep your weight a little farther back during the whole motion. Exaggerate the sucking up of your legs. This will get the rear tire up while the front wheel hangs in the air.
The wedge is a skill you can use to straddle your bike between two obstacles. From the wedge, you can surge your bike forward up onto the next obstacle. This is a quality move.
If you find yourself wedged between two obstacles, usually after a pedal punch, you must remain calm and prepare for a surge. The wedge is a quiet, balanced position, very solitary. To help maintain balance, you can twist your front wheel side to side, move your knees, or even stick your foot out. Once fully balanced and settled, do a solid and quick compression with your legs and hips, usually in a slightly backwards motion to help load the rear tire. Give the drivetrain a quick, snappy punch. This, combined with an explosive body weight transfer, will give you the momentum needed to span the gap. Spot the landing and extend your arms forward and your legs up to mount the bike on the obstacle. following skills have a little bit more of a playful nature. Go out, experiment, and have fun with them.
Front wheel hops are a classic demo move, a crowd pleaser every time.
In a slow roll, move your weight back, then grab your front brake and unweight upwards with a bit of a jump. This will bring the rear wheel off the ground easily. Rotate forward, keeping your arms straight, and bend your legs. Experiment in order to find the best balance point. The hops are very tiny, and the power to do this comes not so much from your arms, but from your midsection, moving up and down in a rhythm. To hop in a circle, give the handlebars a very slight twist on each upward hop.
A rear wheel 360 is pretty specific to trials in that you're starting from a standstill. Definitely check this one out, it feels great.
Find a smooth surface, such as polished concrete. Start in a track stand and wind up your body, especially your hips and shoulders. Release them very quickly until they come round just past starting position. Now pick up your front wheel and continue the spin. Looking around in the direction of the spin, rotate your body and bike around. At the 180 point, your front wheel should be fairly high, along with your body fairly tall. Low and wide is slow. Skinny and tall is spinny.
With the rock walk, you're pretty much just walking your bike along in a series of 180s, that is.
Rolling along, turn about 45 degrees in the direction you're going to rotate. With your body weight to the back, grab your front brake and bring your weight up and swinging to the side. Let the back wheel come down, then use the momentum you've created and pull the front wheel up and swinging to the side to complete the full spin. You can now repeat this as desired.
Ooh, manuals, one of the most enjoyable skills out there. When you nail that balance point just right, the experience is just unmatched.
Manuals are done standing up on the pedals while rolling along on the rear wheel. Roll along at a jogging pace, pull up and back on the handlebars. Position your body weight back and down, hovering your butt just over and behind the rear tire. Arms are outstretched with a finger on the rear brake. Heels are dropped slightly. Knees are slightly bent. If the front wheel starts to fold down, pump your legs. Do this by quickly and deliberately snapping your legs straight. This will pump the front wheel back up. If the front wheel starts coming up too high, feather the rear brake and bend the knees a little more. This will bring the front wheel back down.
The wheelie. I honestly thought I'd never learn how to wheelie. It took me forever to learn this thing. But with a little bit of patience and just plugging away at it every time you ride, you'll eventually get the hang of it. It's definitely worth the time.
With your pedal at about the 1 o'clock position, push down on the pedal and pull up on the bars. You'll be sitting with your weight on the saddle and your arms will be straight. Maintain a smooth pedal stroke. Keep a finger on the rear brake. If you start to pull backwards, feather the brake to bring the front wheel down. If you start to drop the front wheel too much, pedal just a little harder. Stick your knees out from side to side and turn the front wheel to help maintain side-to-side balance. One variation I should mention is the catwalk. Always good fun.
.360 exits at first glance may look pretty tricky, but with a good base of skills, you should have no problems with this one.
If you've mastered the Endos side drop, you're well on your way with this one. Just add a rotation. Line yourself up parallel with the edge, and press down on the pedals. Turn your front wheel and rock your weight onto the front wheel. Just as the rear wheel hits horizontal, push off the handlebars and pull back in the direction you're spinning. Now airborne, you can finish your rotation. There are a few variations of this move, so be as creative as you like.
Once you've mastered the use of your drivetrain with skills like side hops and pedal kicks, you can actually use the drivetrain to spin your bike around in all sorts of unique and creative ways. Play around with this one.
Punch the drivetrain and use plenty of body language to get the bike spinning in the direction you desire. You weigh more than your bike does, so get the body moving, punch the drivetrain, and the bike will follow.
Trials 180s are great. From a dead standstill, it lets you do a complete 180. There's two ways to do this actually, statically and with a pedal kick. So we're gonna investigate both ways. Take a look.
For the static 180, you've got to wind up your body, twist it around, and jump upwards, trying to rotate the bike around in a full 180. This one happens very quickly. For the punch 180, you've got to spin in the direction of your forward foot. Much like the side hop, punch the drivetrain and spin the bike around in a 180.
The Leech loop is a move I learned in a demo a few years back and then managed to nail it in the movie Revolution. If you like spinning, it's definitely worth learning.
Find two parallel ledges for this one. Line up parallel with one ledge and wind your upper body up. Release the upper body and explode on the drivetrain. Spot your landing and guide your front wheel to plant on the second ledge. Then, without breaking the flow of the rotation, push off the front wheel and continue the spin to the ground. Your body is capable of amazing things. The bike alone is just a tool. You have the power to manipulate it in any way you like. So be creative, be imaginative, ride for the enjoyment of it. Know that if you don't quite learn that certain skill, you've always got tomorrow. So ride in the moment, enjoy the process of teaching your body how to move in new and unique ways. Enjoy the sensation that your body gives you when you nail a line just right. If you do, you've mastered the art of trials.